back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to Author's Corner, where we highlight and showcase a local author. Today, I'm speaking to 89 years young James B. Flaherty. And James and I are going to be talking on the topic how to live longer and keep the mind young. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, thanks, Myrna. Happy to be here.
Yes, wow. I told you before we started recording, I'm very impressed. 89 years old and still doing podcasts and writing books and, being on Zoom and navigating computers and technology. I applaud you. So it's amazing. All right, let me give you guys a brief introduction. Jim is an ex-Madman writer, creator, director in New York City, was creator and innkeeper of a five-star country inn, wrote four books in his 80s, is working on a new book titled Loving Longevity. Subtitle, I'm 89 and I have a 10-year plan. He's a grandfather and a great-grandfather and wakes up every morning with a smile and a purpose. He embraces every day as a gift. Tell you, when I get to 89, and I'm going to get there, I'm going to wake up every day and praise God that it is a gift of a new day. So I understand
Absolutely.
totally. Yeah, I understand totally. Yes, it is every day that you're above ground. It's a gift. So
Mhm.
that's amazing. All right. So, Jim, I want to start off. You say that you want to remind the elderly that the band will not stop playing until they stop dancing. What an excellent concept. So, how do you keep dancing every day at 89 years of age?
Well, let's go back to what you originally said. I honestly do look at every day as a gift. When you think in terms of eternity, which is trillions of years, maybe we live 6 minutes. Let's pick 6 minutes at a time. So if you're 50, you've lived 4 minutes. So I mean, can you really afford to waste any time? So I think like, wow, isn't that terrific? I have another opportunity to see, hear, taste, touch, speak, share, love. I mean, what an incredible gift that is. So why should I spend it curled up in the fetal position watching television all day when I could be out participating in life? And I see it too much. I have too many friends. I have friends from 50s and up. Oh, actually younger than that. But I see it in some of my older friends who were sticks of dynamite in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and suddenly now are saying, "Oh, no, I can't do anything," or "I'm so busy," or "I'm fine living alone and I don't need any help," which is nonsense. You shouldn't be living alone in your 80s. You should you should arrange to have somebody to live with you if you can stand your own children or your sister. Oh, but to not be alone. I made a real smart decision 25 years ago when I was 64 years old and on top of the world. I mean, you couldn't touch me. I was so full of myself back then. I decided I'm not one of these days I really am going to need somebody. I think I'll try it right now. I'll hire somebody, we'll give it a trial. She's still with me
Wow.
25 years later. She's
Yeah.
a little Mexican lady with more common sense than anybody I know in the world. And once I had bad surgery in Mexico, and she insisted on caring for me, and I started calling her my nanny. And so now she introduces herself to people. I am Senor Jim's nanny. So I have this wonderful woman.
That don't need a nanny is you.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody, all my friends envy the hell out of me because they all need that. But I have a nanny who really runs everything. My house is OR clean. I have brilliant food put in front of me. The dogs are smiling. The gardener is on his toes. everything is done for me. She gives me time to write, to think, to write speeches, to make business trips. I don't have to worry about anything. So that's being incredibly spoiled, and I admit it. I admit that all that, but I also admit that that happened because I made the decision to
Mhm.
do it. And I say that to people now, that if you're in your late 60s and you can afford it, look right now into getting somebody to come in and becoming part of your operation. You're going to find life gets much easier than as you get older. Anyway,
You know,
I do wake up every day. My late mother, my late great mother, my father died when I was very young. And so I was raised by a very smart woman. And she said, every morning of your life, you've got to confront your biggest critic, your biggest enemy. It's that person in your bathroom mirror. And you can either look at that person and go, good God, another day, or smile bravely and cheerfully and say, good God, another day. It may sound a little corny, but basically, I do that every day. And I do not wake up depressed. I do not ever start my day with depression. I start my day with, good God, another day, another great opportunity to get out there and produce, create, do something worthwhile. I also have a new uh, creed in life, which is the biggest gift you can give to yourself and to another human being is if you see if in your daily travels, if you see somebody who is hurt or anxious or hungry or thirsty, put your hand out to help, expecting nothing in return.
yeah,
It's the nicest and best thing you can do in the world for anyone. It's happened to me recently. Recently, I was running out of gas driving across New Mexico, and I was worried. I was getting nervous, and somebody stopped, went off the road, let me follow them until I got to safety and took care of me. And I thought, these are God's good people. You know?
that's pretty good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like. Well, I jump out of the bed every day because I've got purpose. And they're saying when you're working towards your purpose, when you're working towards goals, then you jump out of bed because you've got big goals. But listen, when you're 89, you jump out of bed because you're alive. So you don't even need
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, but I got to be truthful with you, Myrna. I don't go to bed thinking, I wonder if I'm going to make it until tomorrow. I really have no plans for waking up on the wrong side of the grass anytime soon. I mean, even my daughters say very lovingly, they say, a sweet, conscientious father of 89 would just go to bed and not wake up and leave his children whatever money there is. But no, not you. You'll live forever just despite us. I said, probably.
You've got a 10-year plan. So I take that back. Yes,
Yeah,
I take that back.
yeah,
Okay.
I do.
All right. So how do you keep your mind young? And how can you tell someone that's listening that's maybe in the 70s, 80s, what is your advice to them for keeping their mind young? I know you
Oh,
write, and that's one of the ways you do it because I write and read, and that keeps the mind young. Is there anything else?
writing and reading is terrific. I I believe, Myrna, that inside of all of us there is a purpose, and maybe the purpose became, people have a profession. They have to earn a living. Maybe they were an accountant or a financial person, but maybe that wasn't their real purpose. But I know I had obligations. There were times when I was young, I thought, I wonder if I could become a Hemingway and go lock myself in a garret somewhere with a bottle of scotch and write a wonderful novel. But I had a wife and young children to support. And I thought, no, I have obligations. So I became very good at my job. And I was fortunate. I loved doing what I was doing, being a copywriter and then a creative director, you know. But if you can think of yourself and say, what would I really like to do? Gee, I always wanted to paint. guess what? You can take painting lessons. I have a friend who came to me one day and I said, "Why are you looking glum today?" And she said, "I've realized that I still have one serious regret in life." I said, "What's that?" She said, "I never got a college degree," which I didn't know because she's very smart. And I said, "So?" And she said, "What do you mean, so?" I said, "Go back to college." She said, "Jim, I'm 83 years old." I said, "So?" She went back to college. And I got to tell you, she after one semester, she's not 83 anymore. She's 38. She's having the time of her life, studying and talking to the kids. I can't believe it thrills me when I see her. She's alive again. And with everybody, whatever you're doing in your life, don't be alone. Do not try to live a life of isolation. Say, I know if I call the public library, even in our we live in small villages where I am, and there are lots of small towns around us, no big cities. The library has some incredible programs. They have art classes once a week. They have movie days or movie evenings. They have all kinds book clubs. They have all kinds of things. Or find a group in town. I got convinced a group of women to hire somebody to come in and give them cooking lessons once a week. And they have a cooking club and they are having a wonderful, wonderful time. I've got two other friends studying Spanish. I said, good, learn a new language. That will keep your head active. And it's a good, very handy second language since everybody speaks it.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, it's just to live, just by living and not saying, no, I can't do anything anymore, or nobody cares about me. That's absolute nonsense. I mean, I've coming for Thanksgiving. One of my closest friends is a rabbi, and he's 84 years old, and he's one of the funniest men I know in the world. And his wife is beautiful and darling. You know, they've been married for 100 years. And, you know, and she said, and I was an Episcopalian. and
Oh,
they're terrific. They're terrific. You know, and I don't know. It's just people who want to live and want to participate in life have life. They have something to offer. People say, why are you doing all enough with things? I don't have to work. I really don't have, I can say if I'm, unless there was a total complete depression in the world, I probably have enough to last me for another 10 years, you know, and I don't live excessively. I have a 1940 dairy barn that I converted. That's my home, which I love. And another luxury, I have a pool in my house. Hey, I live in New York State. Outdoor pools are pretty, but why have them? You don't use them. You know, inside every morning I have 30 minutes of serious exercise, which is, I'm sure, one of the reasons why at 89 I'm still kicking, you know, because I followed the rules, you know. So
you've got lots of good ideas here. I'm grabbing some. You know, like I said, my mom is 86. She actually lives alone, but she's got her, kids that come and visit. But I'm gonna steal some of your ideas and run it by her. So that's pretty good.
get, re, get Embrace Your Age um,
Okay.
for her in paper. It's in paperback and also in an ebook. It's an easy book for her to read. It's 14-point type, and
Get it for her for Christmas. That's great.
it's friendly. It's a friendly book to read. You know, I think it's all of $7.50 or something like that. You know, I mean, it's not a big deal.
Because she reads. She reads a lot. You know, whenever she comes visit me, I've got these prayer books and Bible things and AARP journals and stuff. She likes to read. What else is she
Good,
gonna do?
good.
So I'm gonna definitely get that for her, and she can pick
That's
up some ideas.
that's
That's
great.
amazing. All right. So tell us about your recent book. I mean, right now, you embrace your age. That's what you're talking about. You can be better than ever. Why did you write it, and what do you want people to walk away with after reading?
Well, the first when I started writing books, these first two books here at the bottom are both fiction novels. I wrote
Okay.
those when between the ages of 75 and 80. And then as I hit the 80s and I realized so many friends were what I call retreating from life, which absolutely made me nuts because I'm so all the time, you know, that I wrote the first book, Dear Old Friends, which was to talk to them about a very friendly book, but about aging cheerfully and productively. And then I carried it a little farther with Embrace Your Age. The new book coming out is called Loving Longevity, and I've changed the subtitle. I'm going to read the subtitle to say, How to Make Your Next Years Your Best Years.
I like that.
And then underneath my name at the bottom, and I'm not even going to use James Flaherty. I'm going to say Jim Flaherty. I'm 89 and have a 10-year plan, you know, because I do. Besides the books, I've written a TV series and a screenplay. I need an agent. Maybe I can get something on TV or on a film. I'd love to. I'd love the excitement of doing that, of being involved in it.
On how to age gracefully or loving longevity. That's great Netflix stuff
Yeah,
right there. So
yeah.
yeah, look for an agent or maybe contact Netflix directly. I don't know how these things work. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm working on all that to try to use that. I'm using it in giving speeches too. I'm available to give keynotes and teach workshops and do all that stuff. You know.
okay. So let's get back. The other one is not out yet. So let's talk about your embrace your age book. So
Okay.
what do you want people to walk away with after reading? Is it
Uh,
targeted to
well,
elderly or
I think what they might enjoy in Embrace Your Age, here is the book up close. They want to see it. Is
yeah?
every chapter is a question. So I ask questions in the book about do you think you're old? How are you going to handle it when they die? If you don't have friends, why should I talk to you? Were you always a winner? Do you know where your best psychoanalyst is? That gets back to the mirror that my mother says,
Mhm.
talk things over with your mirror. You know, really, and I do. I say, didn't you think I was terrific last night? They say, no, I didn't think it was necessary for you to say to that one person, have you ever considered calling AA and Weight Watchers? Yeah. I said, well, yeah, I thought they were, never mind what I thought. But I also tell people,
Say
which
that.
knowing people who know how nuts I've always been, I'm crazy nuts, not bad nuts. I'm the only old person you know who's never smoked a joint. You know, I've been an anti-drug person my whole life. As
Right.
I say to people, do you know something? Here's an honest to God statistic. And people go, huh? That if you go to a house of worship, a church, a mosque, a temple, 4 times a month, so you're going to take you counting travel, maybe a total of 8 hours a month, you will live 4 to 8 years longer by virtue of believing in a higher power, of taking the time out to meditate, to be thoughtful, to pray. It's all good stuff. It really is very good for people. And as is meditation, I encourage that with people. So just to take, if you don't have a pool, I have a pool to exercise in, so I have 30 minutes alone with some nice music playing on my Alexa in the pool room, uh,
Right.
or I am out, or I can take a walk in the yard in good weather. But all those things are important. And in Embrace Your Age, again, it asks those questions about people. that I want them to answer themselves. And why, if you don't have really good friends, why don't you? If Are you having problems with your children and grandchildren? Why? I mean, come on, folks. It's a two-way street. My babies, my darling daughters, are 62 and 64 years old, and I love them both madly, and we have a wonderful time. And we still now and then come to each other because they look at me, they say, "Do you think it was easy growing up as your children?" And I say, "Do you think I give a rat's?" But they also say I never bored them because when they were 9 and 11, I said, "Pack." They said, "Where are we going?" I said, "We're moving to Buenos Aires, Argentina," which we did for 4 years.
Oh,
I
wow.
I became creative director of J. Walter Thompson, and we lived in a different language, a different culture. It was wonderful. Gave
Right.
everybody a broader point of view for the world, I think.
Yes. Yes. Culture. Right. Amazing. All right. Well, James, I wanted to talk to you because you're so amazing and you have amazed me. All right. So, send me a link when your Loving Longevity book is out, and I'll add it to the show notes on this interview. But yes, you guys run out and pick up, and I will too, run out and pick up a copy of Jim's book, Embrace Your Age.
Yeah.
Learn a few things, be entertained, but as well learn a few things. And if there's anything that you took out of this short conversation, is don't live alone. Right. You can hire someone to come in and maybe, whether it's clean the house and cook or live in
Hmm?
or just companionship. It's a beautiful thing instead of, living alone and having like a dog or something.
Right.
Everybody is going towards the animals, but I still think people are important, right? So I will talk to my mom about that. So that's amazing.
Do I have time for one more quickie thing? Something
Sure.
that I believe in very strongly. I was raised with the golden rule, but if you lay that on a 4 or 5 year old, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, they'll go, huh? So as a writer, I thought it's a good idea, but I rewrote it for myself and my children,
Mhm.
and they used it raising their children too, which pleased me a lot. You get what you give. If you give a sympathetic ear, a generous heart, a meaningful smile, a loving hug, guess what? You get it back. If all you do is bitch and moan and complain and demand and criticize, that also comes back and bites you
Yeah.
somewhere behind you below your belt line. And I mean, life isn't that hard. Give good, get good, and if people can approach life that way, it's fine. If they want to know more about me, they can find my website, which is my name, James B like boy, Flaherty, FLAHERTY.com. JamesBFlaherty.com. And that will tell them more than they would ever want to know about.
Yeah. I'll link out to your book, and link out. Actually, I'll link out to both of your books right now. Your books, not the fiction ones, but
Good.
you know, the regular ones, and it's called "The Dear Friends." Right.
Yeah, your old friends, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
Loving
So,
Longevity should be out. I'll probably put it off till January. Get through the holidays first, and then put it out.
all right. Well, yeah. Send me the link to that one, and I'll add it to the show notes. So you can link out to that as well and pick up a copy of that. But yeah, you listen. You got a 10-year plan. So maybe I'll have you back in 5 years.
I I can't wait, Myrna. Where are you located?
I'm in Florida. You're in New York.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm a Floridian. You know,
apology.
born and raised.
I know. I heard you say that your father was in Miami. I
Yes,
listen.
absolutely. Coral Gables for before air conditioning. We bought the first TV on the block. I was 15 years old. Kids, I was 15 before I saw television.
Well, yeah, I grew up in Guyana, so I didn't see one until I was 17. So I beat you.
Okay. Right.
All right. Well, listen. I wish you health, wealth, and longevity. And I think you'll get there because you've got a young mind. You've got a you know passion. All those things. You exercise
Yeah.
and
Eat
they're all
right. Yeah, you
wrong
got
with
to take care of yourself. You know, your body's an old refrigerator. It gets rusty now and then. So take care of it.
you're doing all the right things. You're doing all the right things to keep your body as your temple. You're touching on them all. So that's why, you're so funny. So that's another thing. So that's amazing. So you'll
Yeah.
do well. So I wish you, all the best. And I'll buy your book and give it to my mom. That will inspire her.
Bless your heart, Myrna. And
You,
a very, very happy
great.
holidays to you.
Yes. Okay.
Give
All
mom
right.
a
Well,
hug for me.
I will. I will. Definitely will. She comes to visit me she lives in Toronto, so she comes to visit me for the winter. So,
Good.
yes, I will have her read this book and give
Give
it
me
to
a call over the holidays. I'll chat her up.
you. Offer of friendship. I love that. Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Author's Corner. It was my pleasure to bring you James B. Flaherty, his book, Loving Longevity, which is coming out, and also embracing, what is it called? Embracing what?
Embrace your age.
Right, embrace your age. So yeah, so definitely pick up a copy of it and give it to your mom or your dad or somebody that that could encourage them to embrace their age and get the best out of aging so that they can age as well as Jim here. He's definitely the poster child for aging and longevity and keeping your mind fresh and working and embracing technology, all those beautiful things.
That's right.
Yes, yes. Okay, so all right, guys. Well, listen. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you, Jim, for being on the show. Until next time, namaste.